My name is Patricia Hanna. I go by Patty. I have a PhD in educational leadership and policy, which you might be scratching your head asking yourself, why is somebody with a PhD going to talk about boxing and fitness and all of that? Well, let's find out. I'm a fitness trainer and the club manager at Title Boxing Club in Grandview. I'm also an advisor and a distributor for Advocare Nutrition. So if you have any questions about that, I'll be happy to speak with you after class. Ever the young professional. Okay, so someone asked me over at our booth what the theme of my talk was about, and I said, power. And they were like, what? Like, yeah, power. I think that it's a very important term when it comes to your own development as an individual human being, and also professionally, personally. So I think it's very interesting because I've had a lot of success in my life professionally. I was a teacher in Indiana for about 10 years before I relocated to Columbus to do my PhD at OSU. I was the youngest teacher of the year twice in Indiana for the Indiana Foreign Language Teachers Association and the Indiana Association of the American Teachers of Spanish and Portuguese. Graduated with honors, got a 4.0 on my master's, and then did my PhD in educational leadership and policy. Wow, how impressive, right? But while I had a lot of professional power, personally, I felt very, very powerless over a lot of things, and which was a gigantic incongruency in my life, right? Like, how can somebody who's such a badass professionally be so powerless feel so powerless over so many things personally? So it was just this huge incongruency. So 5 years ago, I was not the boxing badass that you now see before you. I was 290 pounds. I was a pack and a half a day smoker and had been for 15 years. And on June 27th, 2010, I ended up in my first year of the PhD program. I was taking statistics at the time. That was awesome. The day I ended up in the emergency room with severe threats to my life. My whole right leg had what's called a rope clot, deep vein clot. And unbeknownst to me, like who knows how long I was carrying that thing around, but pieces of it broke free and started embolizing to my heart and lungs. And I ended up in the emergency room with a very high likelihood that I would die. I mean, the statistics on that are pretty atrocious in terms of pulmonary embolisms and things like that. But I didn't die. And there's a lot more to that story, which we obviously don't have time for now, but it started me on a fitness journey. So I'm about, for the first time, to publicly share my before pictures. Let's all practice a big gasp together. Ready? On the count of 3, we'll gasp together. Ready? 1. Now you have to really mean it. Like you need to really pretend that you're horrified. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That wasn't really convincing. I'm going to go ahead and show you the pictures. So here we go. I just tapped this, right? Oh, no, sorry. One slide ahead of myself. Get ready to gasp again. All right, so while I was personally powerless, this is what my epitaph would have said on June 27, 2010, had I actually died. It would have said, "Here lies Patty, a beloved smoker, so dedicated, a faithful carbaholic, a dedicated couch potato, and a prisoner of powerlessness. Here we come. Rest in peace, powerless Patty." This picture, which I guess is in the upper left-hand corner, is a picture of me when I was about 280. So the day I ended up in the emergency room, I actually had put on another 10 pounds. That was about 6 months before I ended up in the emergency room when I was teaching in Spain. I lived in Spain and taught in Spain. for a little while. And yeah, I climbed a mountain to a castle in this picture, and my students actually applauded me when I got to the top because they didn't think I was going to make it, and quite frankly, neither did I. It was a very hard climb at 280. And then the other picture of me is just a close-up of my face. So, yeah. So I remember the day that, so by the way, now let's get ready to applaud. I've lost 110 pounds. And I've been maintaining for almost 5 years. You can clap a little louder if you want. I remember the exact moment where I became aware of this big incongruency in my life, because I had been obese my whole life. I was childhood obese. I was always the largest girl in class. I was driving home from OSU after one of my classes. I was also a research assistant, so I might have been driving home from work, I don't remember, but I was in my car, and I thought to myself, Patty, why are you so accomplished in every area of your life, and then this is a mess? Like, why do you believe that you can graduate from the top PhD program in your field in the country, and yet you don't believe that you can be fit? And I was like, literally, F that. I can be fit, and I can lose 100 pounds, and I'm going to do it. I can do this. I can do it. I have power over the situation. And that was really a pivotal moment for me, because I'd never faced that before. So I want to share with you 3 questions, maybe. Let's try it again. No? Can I get a little help here? There. Okay. So 3 questions when you think about feeling powerful and being powerful. I think everybody, and I try to ask myself these questions pretty regularly now. So why don't I believe that I can what? What is it that you regularly tell yourself you can't do? Lose weight, eat nutritiously, quit smoking, when I'm such a badass professionally? You know you rock it. So why do you have this efficacy in certain areas of your life and not in others? If you can rock that presentation or close that sale or win that court case or teach children how to read, you're a badass. So why are you satisfied being less than a badass in other areas of your life, whether it's relationally or personally or whatever? So confront yourself about that. The next question, why am I satisfied or happy being overweight, a victim of my crazy schedule, addicted? Does that make sense? Should I be happy or feel satisfied when I'm overweight and a victim of, I say my schedule, I have no control over my schedule. I would work out, I would eat right, I wouldn't eat McDonald's every day if I didn't have such a crazy schedule. Really? That sounds to me like a lot of powerlessness. And I would suggest to you that you're not powerless. And the last question, why do I believe that I have no power over my situation? Is that actually true? And think about the times in your life on a day-to-day basis where you believe the lie that you have no power. You actually have a lot of power, and you're the only person in your life that actually has power over yourself. So, one last little slide here. So this is me at Title Boxing Club Grandview, and this was a little thing in my journal that I wrote when I was working on my fitness journey. It took me 14 months, by the way, to take off the weight. Success starts with progress. I see people in fitness establishments all the time, and people who know my story then begin to ask me, you know, how can this happen, and how did you achieve this success? And I'm like, you know what, I did it just like everybody else. I put one foot, I took the first step, and then I just kept going. And it was hard, and that's what you do. Like, yeah. Just the other day I was telling someone, we were in the club talking, in Title Boxing Club Grandview, talking about this kind of stuff. And someone said to me, I don't want to get a membership here because I'm not any good at this. I'm not fit. Everybody else here is fit. And I'm like, well, number one, that's not true. Number two, get over yourself. Nobody's looking at you when they're hitting that bag. Nobody is focused on you, believe me. Nobody's watching you, so get over your paranoia. But, and I said, well, it sounds to me like you're comparing yourself to people who do this for a living. And like, I got news for you. The people on Dancing with the Stars rehearsed for weeks and months, and like they didn't just get on that stage and rock it. Like they had to put in the time, day in and day out. So stop comparing yourself to people who are, you know, way more advanced. They weren't born advanced. They weren't born fit. Nobody's born with a six-pack. Like everybody does it the same way. You take one step and you just keep going. So success starts with progress. Progress starts with taking the first step and then continuing to put one foot in front of the other. And then there is an inertia and a momentum to change. Good decisions generate better decisions. Better decisions generate the best decisions. And the best decisions generate the best you. So I'll be around afterwards if you want to talk. That's my contact information. That's me and another trainer there at Title Boxing Club Grandview. Thank you for your time.
And tonight's event is actually titled BestU. But I can't tell you how to be the best you, but I can tell you how I became the best me. And so I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what to say tonight. And I only came up with actually 2 reasons. The first one is because Derek knows he can ask me to do just about anything and I'll say yes. The second one is because I think at the end of the day, people always see me smiling. They always see me happy. And so I think that that is why I connect so much with people, because they want to know why, after all that I've been through, I still have a positive outlook on life. So my story starts back in 2009. I lost my maternal grandmother to cancer. Just 1 year later, I lost my paternal grandmother to heart disease. Not even a whole year after that, I lost my mother to breast cancer. And that is when I hit rock bottom. I started spiraling out of control. I was angry, I was upset, confused, I became unconfident. I didn't know what happened. In 2.5 years, I lost every influential African-American woman in my life. And so I was left on my own. I was a completely different person than what you guys see today. I was evil and I was vindictive. But then something happened. A friend grabbed me and they said, you know what? I want you to come to church with me. And I said, okay, that's fine. It's not gonna help, I've been there before. And so, when I got there this day, the pastor told a story. He said, do you know when you're a little kid and you go outside to play? Well, you know how most parents tell you, just be home before the street lights come on. Well, that's what his father used to tell him. He used to go outside and play. All he had to do was be home before the street lights came on. And then he made a connection that sticks with me until this day, and this is why I'm telling you this story. He said, how is life any different from a parent telling their child to be home before the streetlights come on? God gives us this life, so to speak, to play. We just have to be home before the streetlights came on. So it's unfair for me to be mad at God for taking my mother or my grandmothers away because I wasn't ready. He was ready and it was their time to come home. And once I heard the pastor tell that story, it kind of clicked in my mind. The light bulb went off and I was like, okay, I get it. I finally understand what life is about. And so that was like the rebuilding moment in my life. And so I took that, the emotions from that time, from that particular moment, and I turned it into something positive. So I started volunteering. I started working with Susan G. Komen. I started working with More Than My Brother's Keeper. And I started working with a lot of other disadvantaged youth organizations here in Columbus. I continually poured myself into other people. I continually gave back. I did everything you could possibly think of. I became Soarer of the Year. I was Volunteer of the Month. I have rewards and accolades galore from that time period in my life. But the one thing that I forgot to do was pour back into myself. And so while it felt great to help somebody else, at the end of the day, I was empty. I was exhausted and I didn't know what to do. And that was another aha moment for me in my life. I finally realized that life is this balancing act between giving and regrouping. And so I finally feel like today I understand. I know what I'm supposed to do. And so I'm going to give you guys my 7 things that I do daily to help me make sure that my life still stays in balance. The first one is trust God. I talk about God a lot because of what I went through. Not everybody may have the same viewpoint as I do, but for me, that's my motivation and that's my balance. I know that as long as I look to Him and I trust Him, He will never leave me nor forsake me. Next, I learned to say no. Now, obviously, I'm still working on this one because I'm here giving this talk today. But I realized that I don't have to